Hello and welcome to this edition of EC3 HOSA Medical Moments. I'm Gina Ryan, Director of Hardin County Educational and Community Television. And today we have two of the hardest working individuals in the Hardin County schools. Jaron Morning, who's joining us from the Bluegrass Middle School, Frisky, and also Lauren Foster, who is from the West Hardin Middle School, Frisky. Now, Jaron, for those at home that don't know what Frisky means, what does it stand for?
So Frisky means the Family Resource Youth Service Center, and then we throw the Y on there. I'm not sure why we always do that, but we do.
And for those that are watching, each of you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you graduated, where you went to college, and your role in the district now. We'll start with Jaron. I'll say, Jaron, you do it this time.
Okay. My name is Jaron Morning. I went to Bluegrass when I was in middle school. I graduated from John Hardin High School. I went on to get my degree in psychology at the University of Louisville.
And Lauren?
We look at you, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. My name is Lauren Foster. I am an alumni of West Hardin Middle School and Central Hardin High School. I graduated from Central in 2015, and I went to get my bachelor's degree in social work at Western Kentucky University, and now I work at West Hardin again. So,
all of our schools are different, so many of them offer different types of programs through their Frisky organizations. So, Jaron, tell us a little bit about the Bluegrass Middle School, some of the things that you all offer.
So one of the things that we've really tried to implement at our school is getting some community volunteers and some mentors in. So we have 4 or 5 mentor groups going now. And we also have a Watchdogs program where we invite our dads of great students to come in and just be volunteers for the day.
That's amazing. I mean, the Watchdogs are awesome. A number of our other schools have those programs too. Lauren, what about West Hardin?
So this is my second year at West, and working within the pandemic has kind of changed, I guess, what my expectations would be in a normal year, if you were to say. I do a lot of work with mental health. So we run like small groups or like crisis intervention, really any type of mental health service that a student needs. I do a lot of work with that. But just in general, it's whatever is kind of serving as a barrier for a student to be able to be successful in school. That is something that I will help with. So it just depends on the day-to-day and the individual student's needs.
And barriers can be many and far between, correct?
Correct.
So some of the barriers that you tackle, you mentioned a few, but Jaron, what are some of the things that you know, one-to-one on a daily basis that our students struggle with?
Gosh, I mean, so I tell people all the time, it can go anywhere from them needing pencils to them maybe needing clothes that day or hygiene products. And then you find out like maybe there's more needs at home. So we are finding resources for families that are having some financial struggles, or whether that's trying to help them out with health insurance or dental insurance, or finding the right place for them to go.
Okay, is it very similar to you also, Lauren?
Yeah, it definitely depends on each student's needs. So like Jaron said, kind of going off of like more basic needs could be school supplies or food or anything that has to deal with your basic needs, but also it could be deeper than that, like Jaron said. So there could be things going on at home, a child's mental health, that they're just kind of experiencing issues with that. It really just depends. So
COVID has changed a lot of things, and now we're kind of on the upswing of allowing people to come back into our buildings. How did that alter your program the first year, Jaron, and then last year, you know, this year as we're coming out of it?
Well, I guess to think about walking into the building last year when we were back in this A-B schedule, and made me take a step back and see like how can I still be effective within the school. So worked on building relationships with kids and trying to be that in between, trying to be able to bring those kind of services, that kind of information to them directly. We did a lot of things virtually. I know a lot of schools went far beyond what I thought was possible, bringing in like virtual guest speakers and things like that. So last year, that's how we kind of tried to adapt, trying to get back into a normal swing this year. We've been able to bring in the mentors and the volunteers and having guest speakers. A lot of our Frisk have been able to do some outdoor after-school programs, and we try and make sure that we keep our social distancing and whatnot, but we've done a good job of trying to get back to a new normal as far as that goes.
Of course, Lauren, this would be your coming out year, I guess.
Yeah.
From lockdown COVID year to now. So how's that experience been?
I think it's kind of exciting because I started in July 2020, which was like smack dab in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So this year, like Jaron was saying, we're starting to see more possibilities open up for guest speakers or community partners to be able to come in and work with our students and just kind of get to be together again and get that one-on-one or small group intervention. So for me, it's exciting to be able to do that stuff again.
Awesome. You guys work with that handful of students that absolutely terrorized me when I was a substitute teacher. I'll just say that. Middle school students and I just don't have that same communication path. So high school students, no problem. Elementary, no problem. At middle school, what makes them different, Jaron?
What makes middle school kids different? What's neat is that each different grade is kind of special and unique themselves. So it's just they're growing so much. The brains are kind of exploding with all the new changes that they're going through, and we're pulling kids in from different elementary schools. So there's all the different social connections that are being made. It's such a unique place, and the reason I love working in middle school is they're so moldable then, because they're just taking in so much new information, and they're just in a place where they're dealing with so many changes that they might be able to listen to somebody. So it's been neat.
What about you, Lauren?
I'm definitely in the same boat. I love middle school kids. They're very awkward, but I love that. So like Jaron said, they're kind of in that like growth and development stage where they're really trying to find their own identity and learning how to like form relationships with other peers. So it can be kind of an awkward stage, but I also think it's a really fun stage. And like what Jaron said, I think that it's really awesome because when you work with middle school kids, they're kind of in that moldable sense where you can really positively influence a kid's life and kind of get them on the right track. So I think it's a special age.
It's also a time, and maybe it's just the change of the age, but we are recognizing more and more mental issues. And I'm not sure if it's that we're making ourselves more aware of it or that we're just better at spotting it. But what are some of the mental issues or the psychological issues that you're seeing that the kids are coming to you with during the COVID and now post-COVID? I don't know if we'll ever be post-COVID, but yeah.
Well, it's just a new normal-ish, For me, from my perspective, like we all deal with a lot of stress, and I feel like our kids continue to deal with stress, and maybe COVID gave us the opportunity to really sit down and listen to them and pay attention to them. We were stuck at home for so long with our children, and maybe we were able to actually, have those conversations and see them for what they are and what they're going through. So I think just that heightened awareness that they are dealing with daily struggles, and their stress might not be the same as ours, but they don't have the same barometer to feel it like we do. So for them, dealing with their stress, it feels the same as something that an adult might deal with. And it's hard for a kid whose, body's changing and life's just kind of changing in middle school to deal with. So that stress and that anxiety, I think, have been the biggest things that I've noticed with our middle school kids.
You mentioned, Lauren, some small groups that you gathered. Has it been, I'm assuming that you've had more than enough students that need treatment?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that mental health has always been a struggle for kids in middle school and high school. I just think there's more awareness. When I was in middle school, I had struggled with some mental health issues, so I can totally kind of understand where they're coming from, but I just think it's more talked about now. I don't think it's that it wasn't there before, it's just more out in the open now. And COVID, I feel like, has kind of exacerbated some of that stuff. So like, there are a lot of kids that are very anxious to be back in school at, full participation and attendance, and we're not on an A/B schedule. So I've met some kids that are anxious about that, or just anxious about making friends. A lot of kids also felt really isolated, I think, during the pandemic, which can cause, some feelings of depression or loneliness. So really just trying to combat all of that stuff that's kind of been brought on by the pandemic. And it was already there before, but I feel like it's just kind of created new issues for kids that maybe wouldn't have had as big of an issue with that.
You all do fall under that health services umbrella. All of our schools have nurses and caregivers that help our students, but you kind of bridge that gap between home and school and, I guess, doctor appointments. Is that pretty common to say?
Yeah, I would say so. I think what we just like being able to do the referrals and helping these families find the resources that they need as far as health
and discuss
goes.
what those referrals might be for those, because it could be a broad stroke.
So we specifically do a lot of mental health referrals to specific agencies once a family says, this is the agency we want to go to. Or it can be, they might find out that their child has some vision impairments. So it might be referring them to a specific eye doctor that'll take their insurance and that we know will work with them well. So that's how a lot of that goes. And then we also can put on programs. We do a dental health program probably at every different school. We use a couple of different providers, but it gives an opportunity for kids that might not have a dentist or have a dental home to get their teeth screened and get them cleaned, and maybe even get some small services done within the school building.
Sometimes that's the first time that children have received some dental advice, I guess you could say. Same thing with vision and things. We are promoting an upcoming event. I'm going to hold up this little flyer here. You may be seeing this around the area, but you all got an exciting event that you're planning, and we're going to be holding toward the end of March. So, Jaron, talk to us about this event and what's going to be involved.
All right. So on March 24th, at our Pritchard Community Center from 5 to 7, right? Yeah. We are having our Spring in the Wellness event. So at this event, we are going to have different just activities for kids to do and for families in general. It's going to be for everybody. There'll be something there for everybody. We'll have some door prizes, but it's just an opportunity to share some wellness with your families and also learn about what we have in the community that can help you out with your health.
Do you know how many providers will be there, Lauren? Overall, let's just say a large amount, right?
Yes, a large amount for sure. And we're really focusing on holistic wellness. So if you, for instance, we're addressing sleep. So and a lot of those things go hand in hand. So if you have problems with sleep, then maybe you're going to have more stress. So it's kind of addressing from a holistic approach, trying to keep everything overall wellness is what we're promoting. So.
Now, will it be a stop and visit the booth type of thing, or will there be timed events and activities that parents and students can also participate in?
It should be as far they can kind of come and go as they please. So if they're very interested in learning more about nutrition, then that's something that they can kind of choose to spend their time on. Or if they're really interested in learning more about physical activity, they can spend more of their time there. They can kind of just come and go and learn what they please. And there will be a lot of interactive stuff going on too. So it won't be just somebody speaking to you and that's it. There's a lot of interactive games. There's plenty of prizes, plenty of free stuff basically. So it should be a lot of fun.
Now, will all the resource centers be involved with that, Jaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how are we getting the word out? We want anybody and everybody, correct?
Yeah, we want all of our Hardin County students and all of our Hardin County families to come out and see what we got going on at Pritchard, 5 to 7.
I was going to say, some of the things, cardio drumming, what is that? Anybody know?
Do you know what cardio drumming is? You want
to
tell me what
cardio drumming.
I've never done it personally, but I've seen some videos of it. So it's from my understanding, it's essentially they have like a medicine ball and they have drumsticks and there's like these different workouts. Like I would say it's kind of like a Zumba type deal, kind of like a fun way of working out instead of your, more traditional methods that people may not find more interesting. So it's a little more, I guess, innovative, you could say, different.
Well, so I'm just going to toss these titles out there, and I'll try to give a description of it. Roll the dice game. Is that something that?
So with a roll the dice game, we'll have a list of activities, and whatever dice number that the dice land on is the activity you'll do. So it might be like a 10, and that 10 might be doing 10 push-ups. Or might be a 7 and you're doing 7 squats.
I think I'd probably have to say, I need a surrogate.
Well, maybe, so if you're there with your family, it'll be 10 push-ups and the family does 10 total.
Yeah.
Oh, I could maybe handle that. I could do 1 probably.
There you go. And then just pass off the other 9.
That's it. Discovery walk. What's the discovery walk going to be?
So I think the discovery walk will be an outside, because we'll be at Pritchard and they have the little nature walk out there. So it'll be, I'm not sure if it'll be guided, but it'll be using that trail to kind of walk and take in nature, but also get your steps in.
Right, and talk to your family members at that point too. Just Dance, I guess is what it means, Lauren?
Right, so it's like a game. I think you have it for like Wii, maybe some other like platforms, but it's another one of those alternative, workout methods. So some people aren't super motivated by just like going to run on a treadmill or lifting weights. Some people like to do more interactive things. So you could be playing a sport you enjoy, the cardio drumming, the Just Dance, or like Zumba type thing. It's a fun way to get people to participate in some of that physical activity.
Okay,
So.
and it's okay
our
to
DJ
embarrass
will be
yourself,
running
too.
that.
Who will?
Yeah.
I said our DJ will
Okay,
be running
who's our
that.
DJ that night?
Mr. Hummel.
Oh,
Yeah,
James.
James
James
Hummel.
Freestyle.
Yep.
James and I go way back. We've done a lot of weddings together. I'll just
there
say
you
that.
go.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Escape room, I would probably be locked in the escape room still at the end. I don't think I could get out of an escape room. How is that not stressful?
Having to think. Maybe it's good stress though, because
you
it's
think?
just it ends up being a game, and you know that at the end of the day they're not going to leave you in there.
I don't know. My family may choose to. It's like, okay, we are done. Let's go. Calm down room and calm down DIY station. What are those two things?
So a big thing coming from a mental health aspect, so if I have kids that are super anxious in the schools, one thing that's kind of proven to help decrease some of those feelings of stress and anxiety is having like a calm down room. So learning how to set up a space, maybe it's your bedroom if you're a student, or maybe there's just a separate room in the house for all the family members to use where maybe the lights are more dim, just kind of appeals more to the senses. It's a less, I guess, stressful environment. So.
And electronic free probably, right?
Yes,
Device
ma'am.
free.
So one of the really neat things is Miss Smith, our new Highland coordinator, she set up a virtual calm down room where there's plenty of tips and tricks on how to calm yourself down. I think that'll be displayed at the wellness night.
That is awesome.
It really is.
So we definitely got hydration and healthy snacks, so I think I can understand that. What about the dinner project station? Those, they may not be aware of it. Of course, we do a series around the dinner table project. So Lauren, are you familiar with that program?
Yes, I am. Last spring, I actually filmed with one of our West Hardin guidance counselors and assistant principals. We did one of the showings of the dinner table project at the extension office in Hardin County. I think that's really important on the nutrition side, just because I feel like a lot of families that are very busy, your kids play sports or they have extracurriculars, sometimes we're just quick to go fast food or something quick and easy. So it kind of gives families an alternative option, I guess more creative ideas for what to have for dinner as a family. I also think sitting down and having dinner as a family is really important. That can affect your mental health, can let kids know that they have support with their parents if they're spending more quality time. So nutrition, and I also think some stress management can tie into that. So
yeah, and those are offered regularly right now at the extension office, I believe. But we are producing a series around some of those dinner table projects. Sleep health, that's something I know many people struggle with it. And so what are some or who's going to be running that booth, and what are some of those suggestions? Are you either familiar with the sleep health station?
So one of our coordinators, I believe Rita, right, at Heartland.
Erica.
Or no?
At Meadowview.
It is? It's Erica? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Erica. Erica at Meadowview, sorry. I think she, at her school with her Frisk, she's really into, sleep, improving students' sleep and all of the benefits it can have as far as succeeding in school, ability to focus, mental health, really. So I think she's planning on doing a lot of different interactive activities, ideas for how to build a sleep routine, stuff like that. So,
the other one is social media and mental health. During this season of Lent, I have heard a number of people saying that they're giving up devices. Media and social media is a possible thing to kind of separate themselves from. What are some of the things that we see common that's really detrimental to middle school students when it comes to social media and devices? That's really a big, broad stroke, isn't it? From people trying to get people that have a little bit of a bad behavior type of thing behind them, but also they need to know. Lauren, I'll let you jump in there.
Well, I think a lot of students become really dependent on it. They're always wanting to check what's happening on social media, which kind of keeps them from being able to focus and being mindful about what's going on around them in real time. I think that's a really big problem. I also think that social media can sometimes set a standard that's appears high, but so you see on social media the best of everyone. So you don't see, the harder stuff that they're going through, or you don't see the mistakes they make. So sometimes I think kids look at other kids and say, oh, they look perfect on social media, when really that's setting too high of a standard for our kids. So I think there's a lot of comparison with, why don't I look this way or have this many likes or followers. I think it kind of sets an unrealistic expectation, and basically has kids be really hard on themselves. So,
do many of your middle school kids have their own social media platforms and ways to showcase themselves?
I would say most of my students do. What about you?
The majority of mine. Yeah.
I know that that's probably one of the most dramatic changes I've seen in the last 10 years, where anymore, by the time I'm working with students in media production, by then they've already had their own YouTube channel. Right. And have published things for an audience, or TikTok, or and so as an older person looking at that, I get really nervous, and I get really I'm just aware that some people don't always have the right motives behind those things, and not that children are doing it because they love performing or they love being out there, but there's things behind the scenes that they don't see that could possibly be harmful. Let's just talk about advertising, things that pops up on your different platforms and things, and also just some people that are older playing, being a different age.
I guess it's hard. Everybody knows how there are people that use social media to take advantage of other people, and just us dealing in middle school, and our kids being in not innocent, what word am I looking for? Our kids being very impressionable at this age, what they are seeing and taking in on social media, they might see as a reality where, we need to understand that is what people are putting out there, and that might not actually be how they're living, and their intentions might be hidden behind other messages. Just the idea of the autoplay of the next video, and it just, becoming something, and the kids are looking at things that they shouldn't be looking at. So it's a tough thing to deal with.
I was going to say, trolls are out there.
Yeah.
There are harmful things going on.
And I feel like a lot of social media is kind of like a group think, where there may not be as much empathy behind social media posts or social media engagement, whereas, in person they may not say these things, but then sometimes when we get on social media, some students or younger kids, or really even adults, say some things that aren't the nicest that can take a toll on someone else. And it's just, I think there's a lack of empathy sometimes in social media. So,
well, we know that there's a lot of bullying that takes place via social media, because it's easy to type a message rather than to say something to someone's face. So I'm sure that you all have run into that, where you have students that have really felt the brunt.
What's really unfortunate about the cell phones and the social media is it's hard for the kids to unplug. 20 years ago, if you felt like you were being bullied at school, then when you went home, it didn't follow you. Whereas these kids are never disconnecting. And that's, kind of where we get into the mindfulness and trying to prepare our kids with those kind of tools to being able to unplug and take a second and, make sure their feet are on the ground and make sure that they know where they're at and what's real and what isn't. It's important for them to learn those things, especially with this connected world that we live in.
Yeah. So again, for all of our Friskies are going to be there, a number of our staff members as well, in addition to Frisky helpers and things. It's free.
Yes.
100% free.
And there's going to be some door prizes.
Yes, there will be.
Plenty of prizes.
Plenty of prizes. You'll get a goodie bag as you walk in to make sure that you're collecting all of your things.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
We are super excited.
And again, just for those, it's March 24th.
March 24th.
At Pritchard Community Center from 5 to 7. Right?
Yep.
Okay, and for now, where is your resource center located at Bluegrass, Jaron?
So my center is located, it's actually in the building. We used to have a trailer outside, but we are in the building now. But you can also get to it from outside of the building. If you're driving down Bluegrass's parking lot, you'll see a black door, and it'll say Bluegrass Youth Service Center.
Okay, great. And Lauren, what about you at West?
My center is also located inside of West Hardin. I do have an exterior door like Jaron mentioned with his school. If you look at West Hardin, there is the gym entrance. If you go a little past there, there's a sign that says Youth Service Center. But it's also, if you're going in the inside of the building, it's in the related arts hallway past the gym, by the band room and all that stuff. So.
And I'm sure that your doors are open and you are welcome family, friends, guardians, whoever wants to give you a holler or a shout out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you all again for joining us today and letting our audience know a little bit more about what our Friskies do. It was actually part of a state initiative. How many years ago now? I'm going to say over 20 years ago, at least 25 years ago, maybe, in terms of the initial stages.
It's like 30 years. Kara was 1990, 1989, something like that.
And that it went into play. And I wasn't a student of the Family Resource Youth Service Centers, but my children have been, and my grandchildren have been. So the amount of good things that these programs bring to our school students. I mean, I can't imagine a school without one now.
Right. Everybody can benefit from Frisk in some way, even if it's a little bit or, it's life-changing. Every student and every family can benefit from Frisk. So.
Right. And that's what it's there. It's for all students and all parents, all guardians. Well, thank you again and again. Come out on March 24th to Pritchard Community Center, and it's going to be called the Spring Into Wellness Fair. I may see you on the dance floor. My children would probably say, "Oh, no, Mom." But the grandkids would probably say, "Yeah, go Gigi, go Gigi, go Gigi." I don't know. Jaron, are we going to see you out there dancing?
So I'm actually going to be at the station with the agility ladder, so we're going to be testing to see which kids are athletes or not.
Okay, well, yeah, that fits you. What about you, Lauren?
I'm not a dancer, so probably not, but...
Well, again, and thank you at home for watching this edition of EC3 HOSA Medical Moments.